Well, I was 17 years old. I had just turned 17 when I walked away from the organization, and my parents, who didn't really talk to me either, and I went out into the world on my own. Like I say, a world that I really didn't know that much about. I met some really nice people. I met some people that were, a little shady, but not too bad. And people that I knew from then on for years. I ran across some really nice people too, and they understood what happened to me, and that I didn't really know my way around on things. They told me that I could go to the county and get medical coverage for my daughter, since I was working and I couldn't afford it. So I went to the county. Well, I filled out the paperwork, and they called me in the back, and they told me, well, we can't help you because you have to be 18. And I said, well, my parents aren't going to help me. And they asked why, and I told them it was that they had basically shunned me. They weren't going to help me. They barely even wanted to talk to me. And when I finished telling the county official what my parents' standing was on helping me, they got really mad. They wanted to prosecute my parents. They said, oh, we should bring them to court. We can make them support you and a bunch of things. And I said, don't even bother. I said, they're not going to. And when it all came down to it, basically what they decided was that if they did decide to prosecute my parents, I'd be 18 by the time it went to court anyway, so there was really no point. And they let me get medical coverage for my daughter, which that was really nice. It took a whole load off of my mind, being able to get some help from people. Like I said, I found an apartment that somebody would rent to me even though I wasn't 18, which in the town I grew up in was pretty difficult. I think the landlord was really nice and everything, and people told me, well, he has other motives, but he had always been a gentleman toward me, and I never had any problem with him, so I didn't really know what in the world they were talking about. I mean, he was always civil and always nice. But I went to work, and I met a person, a male person, that was really interesting. I mean, he was really nice and everything, and I asked him if he would watch my daughter while I was working, and he said sure. So everything turned out okay. I mean, like I say, he was a nice guy and everything, but I came home from work one day, and there was Oreo cookies spread all over my kitchen floor, and I had a white kitchen floor, and I had kept it nice and bleached and waxed and all kinds of stuff, and I came home, and wall-to-wall Oreo cookies all the way across the kitchen. And I went in and I was like, what in the world did you do? And he says, oh, I gave her some cookies. And I says, well, why are they spread all over the kitchen floor? And he says, well, she was having fun. I thought, oh my. So I get home from work and I have to scrub my kitchen floor again. But it was funny. I come to realize that my daughter was safe and that he did take good care of her. And, I did meet other people, and I did make other babysitting arrangements, but he was just hilarious the way that he decided to take care of her. And he gave her a nickname that I don't want to repeat. It was kind of embarrassing, and I don't want to embarrass my daughter if she ever watches this, but I told him, I says, how can you call a kid that? It wasn't anything vulgar. It was just, I don't know. I just didn't like it. But I don't know. Like I said, I did meet some really good people. People that, 35 years later, I'm still friends with almost all of them. They're still good people. They were always good people. I got married for the first time when I was 20. He was a really nice guy, real nice. And he loved my daughter to pieces. And I used to have my new mother-in-law over all the time, almost every weekend. The rest of the family used to complain, well, she's always over at your house and you gotta share her. And reluctantly I let her spend the weekends other places, but we had so much fun. We'd stay up at night and play card games and talk, and I mean, she was an incredible woman. I was real lucky to have a real sweet mother-in-law. Well, about 7 years into the marriage, my mother-in-law died. She developed cancer and some problems. She was 65 or 75, I forget, but real sweet lady. And she got cancer and passed away. After she passed away, my husband, I don't know what happened. He walked off his job and went to the bar, and he was in the bar 7 days a week, 8-10 hours a day. And I thought, well, maybe he's, depressed over his mother passing and stuff, but it turned into where he was trying to hit me, and he was getting real angry, and he did hit me a few times. I had to call the police. The police were at the house 6 days a week. The police department finally said, how much longer are you going to take this? And I says, well, not much longer. But we wound up being together a total of about 10 years. And meanwhile, I had a second child, my oldest son. And I was happy. I really was, except that my marriage had fallen apart. But I just worked, I just kept working and paying my way in my life. And a while later, I ran into a guy that I knew in high school, and we were talking and got involved, and we took off and came here to Oklahoma 23 years ago and got married. That didn't last very long. I thought, well, I had met him 14 years before that, and I thought everything would turn out all right, but it didn't really. He made some mistakes in his life and decisions that he made that affected me and my children, and I had to divorce him also. And like I said, I just kept working, supporting my kids all along. But I was lucky, I think. I met some really good people, and I stayed unmarried for a while. I didn't want to get married again. I didn't want to cause drama in my kid's life like that and go through things like that. So I stayed single for quite a while. But like I said, all in all, everything that I had learned growing up in the society was a lie. Life is hard. Life is hard no matter where you are, who you are, and what happens. But compound a bunch of spiritual guidance lies on top of that, and the way that they hold your family away from you. You know, my life would have been a whole lot easier if my parents would have just associated with me, you know, but my kids grew up without grandparents, and I never thought that was fair. I mean, my kids should have been able to go to their grandparents on the weekends and spend time with them and that, and it just never turned out that way. And I think it was sad, you know, that my parents gave up their family, their children, and their grandchildren because of an organization that says that if they're not your religion, that you can't associate with them. I think that's just sad. So these days, now that my kids are grown and moved away, I'm going to be a grandma any day now, and my love and my compassion is to try to get people in the Jehovah's Witness organization to understand that they really need to research things and look things up. Don't just take it for granted that the Watchtower Society is telling you the truth. Research what you read in the publications. Don't just look at it, underline, and answer from the paragraph at the meeting. Really get the stuff out. It's so easy these days. You can Google the stuff. Find out if the quotations from other people that they put in there are accurate quotations. Find out if the scriptures they're using are used in context and not just picked and sorted, because so many scriptures in the Bible that you can just take, and you can find a scripture in the Bible that will say almost anything you want it to. But find out if that's what it really means. Get some other translations of the Bible and compare them. Use interlinear years. You can use the one at jw.org, but I advise you to get another interlinear of your own and compare them, because I myself and other people have found mistakes in the jw.org interlinears that they have made so that the scriptures read the way they want them to. And you can comment down below and I can tell you where those scriptures are if you don't believe me, but I've found them, and I know other people have too, that I think it's really wrong of them to actually change the Greek scripture, delete words on purpose, and then write the English words with that deleted Greek word and make it sound the way they want it to sound. I think that's just wrong. So like I say, compare, research, look things up, find out if what's in their publications is true or not. And I know what you'll find. Everybody on these so-called apostate channels on YouTube know exactly what you're going to find. And we're trying to tell people that. And we do that out of compassion and love for them. Not that we dislike the people or think that the people are terrible or anything. We just believe that they're being misled and lied to. That's all. We don't dislike the people. We love people. We try to live our life in a Christian manner. Even though some of us aren't Christian, we still live that way. We're still good to people. You know, we just love people and we want them to know the truth. So just hang in there. But please research stuff. I'll continue with my story and some more in a couple of days. Love you guys. Bye.